Being one of the biggest search engine in the world, YouTube has experienced a lot of growth in recent years. And with that being said, YouTube has as well changed a lot of people's life by giving a lot of creators the opportunity to promote their product and as well educate a lot of people. And do you know that YouTube has helped our society today by making it easy for people to get information on what is happening around the world? And that is not all. Most people's life has been changed through this platform. But have you stopped to ask yourself how this platform was founded and the secrets behind the ideas of creation of this platform? Well, majority of us today associate YouTube with Google, and given the fact that Google acquired YouTube in October 2006, and since then Google has spent billions to keep YouTube up and running. So to me, I think that Google deserves most of the credit for YouTube's success. So with that being said, let us not forget that Google did not actually found YouTube. Rather, they bought YouTube for $1.65 billion from three guys in October of 2006. So how did these three guys end up founding YouTube? So follow me, let's find out. Welcome to Highest Luxury, the home of the billionaires. If you haven't subscribed, I encourage you to subscribe, and I know you can do that in less than 5 seconds. Thanks for doing that for me. Alright, let's get started.
Starting off with the first name on our list, we have Jawed Karim. Karim was born on October 5, 1979 in Marburg, East Germany. Both of his parents worked as researchers. His father was a researcher at 3M and his mother was a biochemistry researcher at the University of Minnesota.
At a very young age, Karim and his family left communist East Germany and immigrated to West Germany, and this was where Karim spent most of his early childhood. At the age of 12, Karim later moved once again. This time around, he went to St. Paul, Minnesota, where he ended up attending the local high school there called St. Paul Central High School, and eventually, he later ended up attending the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, and like many other tech founders, Karim ended up leaving campus to become an employee at PayPal. He did not drop out from school, rather Karim continued his education and finished up his bachelor's in computer science while working at PayPal. However, this wasn't a fast process by any means, as it took him 7 years to earn his bachelor's degree, but he did end up graduating. But in the meantime, Karim met two guys at PayPal, who he later ended up founding YouTube with. And according to Karim, the motivation for creating YouTube came from his inability to find popular clips online. Apparently, Karim was unable to find a clips of the 38th Super Bowl halftime show, or the 2004 Indian tsunami online, at the start of 2005. Karim and his two friends from PayPal acquired a domain called YouTube.com and developed the website within the next few months. And around that same time, Karim posted his first video on YouTube, called Me at the Zoo, showing the important role he played in the development of YouTube. Karim later stepped away after the launch of YouTube, and inasmuch as while Karim enjoyed entrepreneurship and education, he preferred to spend his time pursuing a master's degree instead of building YouTube, so later admit that his decision was definitely not a bad one. So he later served as an informal advisor to YouTube, as he completed his master's in computer science at Stanford, but this decision significantly reduces payout from YouTube when Google bought it, while Karim received a total of 137,443 shares of Google, worth around $64 million. If he had held on to this stake, he would easily be on the path to becoming a billionaire today. But Karim really had no interest in the billionaire lifestyle. Karim says that his success in entrepreneurship is great, so he just wants to be a professor. Well, unfortunately for him, it doesn't seem like he actually ended up becoming a professor, but did end up going down the path of education as opposed to building a retirement path. Karim finished up his master's at Stanford and co-founded a company called University Ventures. Well, I knew you may ask why Ventures. Well, at the time this company was bit, Karim and other distinguished entrepreneurs basically offered mentorship consulting and access to capital to up-and-coming startups. Some of the biggest companies they've worked with are Airbnb, Reddit, Palantir, Postmates, and Open Door. Karim was also notable for opposing Google's decision to mandate Google Plus accounts to comment on YouTube in 2013, but that was all with Karim, because after YouTube, he basically continued his education and went on to invest into it and also coach other startups. And that brought us to the next co-founder of YouTube, called Chad Hurley. This guy is super talented and was born on January 24, 1977 in Reading, Pennsylvania. Unlike many other tech founders who are extremely talented in STEM subjects, Chad was actually quite artistically inclined. In fact, he often sold many of his sketches and artworks during his elementary school days. As he moved high school, he did develop a passion for technology, but even then technology wasn't the focal point of his life. Throughout high school, Chad was a star runner in the school's cross-country program, and he even won 2 Pennsylvania state titles in 1992 and 1994. Moving on to college, Chad actually revisited his childhood passion and ended up majoring in fine arts at the Indiana University of Pennsylvania. After university, Chad also ended up at PayPal, but he was not working on the tech side. Rather, Chad was actually working on PayPal's UI and the company's logo. Chad also has a different story when it comes to the origins of YouTube. Chad claims that the inspiration for creating YouTube came from his inability to share videos from a dinner party online. Anyway, whichever one is the real story, after they founded YouTube in early 2005, Chad became the company's first CEO, even though he was technically a CEO. But his initial responsibility mainly consisted of managing the tagging and video sharing aspects of YouTube. In 2006, Chad was ranked 28th on Business 2.0 list of 50 people. And I think Business 2.0 was spot on with Chad. During the acquisition, Chad later walked away with the biggest cash. He received a total of 694,087 shares of Google and 41,232 shares of Google through a trust in total. This added up to a solid $345 million, which is 5 times more than Jawed Karim amount. Chad didn't leave YouTube after the acquisition either. In fact, Chad actually stayed as CEO of YouTube until the end of 2010 when he resigned to focus on other business. Chad co-founded Avus Systems. Avus Systems was an incubator company that enabled app developers to develop and test their apps in real time. The company originally operated as an incubator and helped develop several apps, but Chad always had his eye on one specific app, which was Mixbit. Mixbit was a mobile video sharing platform, and Chad hoped that he could revolutionize mobile video sharing with Mixbit, just like you revolutionize computer-based video sharing with YouTube. But as we all know, YouTube ended up dominating the mobile space as well, though Mixbit never reached the heights of YouTube. The project wasn't a complete waste. In 2018, Blue Jeans bought a certain parts of Mixbit, with plans of implementing the technology into enterprise video conferencing solutions. In the meantime, Chad has made a couple of notable investments within the sports world as well. In 2014, Chad bought a part of the football club with Magic Johnson. Later on, he invested into the Golden State Warriors. And earlier this year, he invested into Leeds United Football Club. Aside from sports teams, Chad invested into a team called USF1 Team in 2009, but unfortunately this team never actually ended up competing. And that's pretty much what Chad has been up to. He stayed as YouTube CEO after the acquisition. He tried to create a mobile video sharing platform, and also bought a couple of sports teams here and there.
And that brings us into YouTube's last co-founder, by name Steve Chen. Steve Chen was born on August 25, 1978 in Taipei, Taiwan. Steve spent the first 8 years of his life in Taiwan, after which his family moved to Prospect Heights, Illinois. Steve attended local middle schools and high schools before enrolling in the University of Illinois.
He majored in computer science and he graduated in 2002. Following his education, he of course got a job at PayPal, where he met Karim and Chad, but unlike the other two, Steve didn't jump straight into YouTube. Steve actually got a job at Facebook, and he worked there for several months before diving into YouTube. At YouTube, Steve was appointed as the Chief Technology Officer, where he ensured that YouTube could support all of the incoming traffic. And in 2006, Steve was also ranked at 28 on Business 2.0 list of 50 people, which was now alongside Chad. And later that year, during the acquisition, Steve received a total of 625,366 shares of Google directly, and 68,721 shares, and these shares worth $325 million. But now they are worth $1.78 billion. Like Chad, Steve stayed at YouTube after the acquisition up until 2009. In 2009, he left YouTube, but he stayed at Google. However, he later left Google as well in 2011. to start a new company with Chad, which was of course Avu Systems. Steve was super interested in developing an incubator platform for app developers. But he wasn't that interested in creating another video sharing platform. So when Chad wanted to pivot Avu Systems into Mixbit, Steve later left the company. It wasn't an intense corporate fallout or anything like that, but Steve and Chad respectfully chose to go their different ways. Steve went back to Google, joining Google Ventures, and this Google Ventures focuses on investing into startups and helping them grow. And today, they're another company incubator, given that this is what Steve was interested in doing with Avu Systems, and it's not surprising that Google Ventures is where he ended up. In 2016, Steve actually launched something called nom.com. This website focused on live streaming food-related content created by users. Ironically, Steve parted ways with Chad because he did not want to create another video sharing platform. But just a couple of years later, that's exactly what he ended up doing. Even though it didn't last too long, and was shut down just 1 year later in 2017 for unknown reasons. Nevertheless, in 2018 Steve was inducted as a laureate of the Lincoln Academy of Illinois, and he received the Order of Lincoln, which is the highest honor given by the state. Later on, in August of 2019, Steve decided to move back to Taiwan with his family, and since then, he has been living there since. And it looks like Steve perfectly timed that move, considering what would happen next. And that is it for Steve, who is one of the YouTube's founders, and at the end of the day, Kareem, Chad, and Steve became the founder of YouTube, and that brought us to the end of today's video. So please like this video, and do me a favor by subscribing. I will really appreciate it so much. And if you have any suggestion video you want us to make, let us know in the comment below. Thank you, and see you in the next video.